Well, welcome back, everybody, to the Epics of Irindal. Last time, our party had descended into the Ragaru Delta in search of an ancient arch-fae who potentially had the ability to diminish or break the contract that you now found yourselves in with Oban Saul, a follower, worshiper, acolyte of the god Ali Damara, one of the darker half of this world's pantheon. The trickster god, often the patron saint of thieves, assassins, sometimes minstrels, and workers of the evening, for lack of a better term. Oban Saul had made a deal to provide you all with information, and in exchange you would help him eliminate the current monarch of Grossmauer. And some members of our party probably would have done that either way. But, nevertheless, you didn't get the warm and fuzzies from the whole situation, and after brief conversations with the individuals you now find yourselves with here in the Ragaru Delta, even less so. But as you descended into the deltas, the swampy areas in the middle south of the continent of Irindal, you searched for this powerful Fae entity, first coming across a significantly less powerful yet unique entity. An individual named Bernard Soule de Floof. A Flump. A sort of Fae-like squid, jellyfish-type individual with a very flippant and very nonchalant, could-care-less attitude. But as he took you deeper into the deltas, you then found yourselves confronted with a daunting, nightmarish, moving house-like structure. A hut upon two avian-like chicken legs that confronted you within the swamps here in the middle of the continent. You attempted to invite yourselves in without much knowledge, and this sparked an immediate conflict to which you forced your way into this hut, breaking through one of the windows, at which point a strange magic sort of vacuumed you into this extra-dimensional space within the tiny hut, which you found inside was far larger than you would have originally thought. Inside, you were confronted by a shadowy, powerful Fae entity that enveloped this entire space. An individual known as Auntie B. But after some tense moments, you were spoken for by two individuals that diffused the situation rather quickly. A beautiful, elvish-looking woman whom you encountered on the Railway Tavern, as well as the barkeep of that same establishment. Two individuals that were involved in that strange state of affairs that brought you to the northern part of the dynasty for the first time. As a thank you, they vouched on your behalf, and this entity known as Anti-B relented for the time being. The shadow disappeared, and you found yourselves in a calm, warm, almost tavern-like setting that you find yourselves in here now. As Rivo, the former bartender of the Railway Tavern, as well as his partner and former business associate, but more so partner at this point, Verity Belay, the eloquent, beautiful singer, now sit with you after another brief conversation where you saw a more humble form of Auntie B in the form of a much older, human-looking woman walking about on a makeshift walker in a sort of ragtag, swampish-colored outfit, but nevertheless still exuding a powerful presence that you all found yourselves witness to on several occasions. Some sort of strange, extra-dimensional, spatial, perhaps temporal power of this realm that she inhabits. An entity like nothing you've ever seen before. Additionally, you noticed that the windows all around this sort of hut that didn't appear from the outside seemed to be like windows to other parts of the continent, as each one shone different spaces across the continent of Irindal, and then even a few others beyond that, even so. A strange space indeed. You spoke about your reasons for arriving here at her home, and she said that you would speak in the morning after she had had time to relax and think about whether or not she wished to assist you all. But now you find yourselves in the company of Verity and Rivo, as Rivo prepares a stew over the open hearth, and Verity sits comfortably at one of the tables, offering you all chairs to take a seat and relax for the moment. And with that, what would you all like to do?
Eat.
Oh, also, Billet is here as well. I always forget to add that Billet has been accompanying you all as sort of a well-known source of information to Oban Sol. But Auntie B has temporarily suspended that sort of bug, if you will. At least while you remain in this space, this extra-dimensional space she calls her home. As Rivo stirs the pot, should be ready. Give me about another 10, 15 minutes. Just got to let these potatoes soften up a little bit.
Well, I'll sit down frustrated that I can't eat right now.
I'll just ask Bill real quick, since we have this opportunity in this space, if there's anything that he wanted to talk about, since we are away from prying eyes and ears.
Well, what's there to talk about? You all kind of know my story at this point. Trying to chase down where I come from, and well, kind of fell into the wrong crowd. Pardon?
Because I said, do we know your story? Because does anyone else remember what we encountered? And how you looked like a dwarven man?
Well, I don't really know what happened there. I don't have those memories. That was new to me.
It didn't like jog anything for you.
It felt not entirely unfamiliar, but I've never seen that person before.
Could someone give me a friendly reminder on what we saw? I know we saw like a dwarf or something, right? Like what was that?
You saw a shadowy dwarven figure when you all were fighting the negative sort of alternate reality sort of forms of yourselves. Alternate, you could call them perhaps alternate timelines, less savory outcomes of your current situation, negative emotions, all sort of wrapped into these shadowy entities that attempted to overcome the true selves, the selves that you know true and well based on all of your collected experiences of your lifetime. They seem to want to envelop that and take hold of the you that you know to be you, rather, to take over your life and your I guess you could say opportunity to live.
Okay. Now, because we did our little shadow versions of us, like they spoke to us. Could I recall what that dwarf sounded like? Did he speak like Billet does?
What you remember in the heat of the moment, the individual did not speak like Billet. He had a gruff, gravelly voice. He definitely sounded like somebody who worked with his hands, and he made comments about creating things and sort of had the vernacular of a craftsman of some sort, and seemed to, as you sort of surmise, had the sort of the creator feeling in relation to Billet, the creation.
Okay. Well, Floof will say, well, that was obviously you. Just thinking logically.
I don't doubt what you're saying. I just don't know. This is the first time I've been confronted with anything like that. It was.
Well, you are a dwarf. Mystery solved.
If that's truly the case, then I would love to at some point explore the northern lands around the Vana route and figure out where I came from. When I first came to consciousness, as I am now, I was nowhere near the mountains. I was around the southern highlands, closer to the dynasty and along one of the trade routes. The first thing I ever remember was I was on some carriage with some piles of scrap, and I remember waking up underneath a bunch of pots and pans and chunks of metal.
Do you think Floof, being raised in the forest, would know anything about the dwarves, or like their people, or if they're alive or not, or anything?
You know that the dwarves are very much alive. You've seen dwarves, and you know of the Vonarut, and you know of the Dwarven Dominium. The dwarves, what little you do know just off the top of your head without any type of additional roll, you would know that the dwarves are one of the 3 oldest races on Irindal. Between them, the elves, and the dragonborn are the 3 oldest historical races. At least of modern day historical record.
Gotcha.
They were the 3 that you saw in that sort of ritualistic play in Tafar when you accompanied the sword school that performed the whole event. And you saw for the first time the Empress of the Magnolia Kingdom. You saw, you saw one of the most prominent dwarven leaders alongside her.
Okay, then I wouldn't say anything mean. So never mind. Okay.
If you want to know more, I'm gonna need a history check from you. You're welcome to try.
I don't think Floof cares. So nope.
But yeah, that would be your general knowledge and what you've experienced through your travels, and what you've just seen in the time that you did experience, various odd and end travelers. You saw the occasional dwarf every once in a while, once in a blue moon. So it's not, of them, but they're not extinct and they're definitely not rare.
Fair enough.
And you saw even more of them when you were in Grossmauer. That's much closer. There's a major trade route out of the Dwarven Dominium through Grossmauer.
Okay.
It's known that, the ancient dwarves created a lot of really incredible things. They worked alongside the ancient Aelin Prima to create a lot of powerful arcane devices, tools, things that were lost during the Cataclysm. In fact, many of, I guess you could call our kind, sentient automatons, robots, whatever you want to refer to us as. We don't really have a history, but we all kind of pull to the same time period. As far as I know, none like us, the sentient ones, the ones that can articulate and think for ourselves, have been created in many, many millennia, at least hundreds of years since the Cataclysm. I haven't heard anything of that kind anyway. And Trash, you would notice this as well. You've seen a handful of the runes, at least not the ones that were like added after the fact, like the more negatively associated ones with Oban Sol. Mm-hmm. You've seen what looks like much older etchings across Billet's frame that you have a fair confidence that they're probably dwarvish in some way, shape, or form. They definitely fit that more angular design mentality.
Mm-hmm. I actually speak Dwarvish as a language. Would I recognize like a word here or there, even if it's like ancient? Maybe I don't have a full understanding of it, but would anything stick out?
They're not really words. It's more just like filigree.
Dwarvish runes or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like how you learn the history of a society by studying their language. Mm-hmm. You would recognize that this is kind of the historically looks dwarvish in places. Okay. Like the craftsmanship screams dwarvish craftsmanship. Very old dwarvish, but still, still harkens back to it.
Right.
I I don't really know why I'm here. That's... I mean, some of yous might... maybe not all of yous, but I would assume most of you kind of know, at least where to some degree, where you come from. It always feels like I'm kind of empty in that regard. And he kind of clanks on his outer frame, and you kind of get this hollow sound. Pardon the pun. But not understanding where you come from kind of makes it hard to determine where you want to go. When you don't have that starting line, it's kind of hard to decide where you want to head to sometimes. You know, makes you feel a little like a part of you is missing.
Floof is silently reflecting on that thought.
Yeah, I also understand that feeling.
And I would say more so than perhaps any other group, at least that you know of on Irindal, could really relate to that. Floof, you have sort of an upbringing, and you have, all things considered, you would probably admit that you had a fairly, happy childhood overall.
Mm-hmm.
Although simple, but, sometimes ignorance is bliss. You understand that you had a starting point. Now, that may not necessarily have been what fate originally intended, but that you had a starting point.
Yeah.
But you do understand where he's coming from, that even more so now as more of your lineage comes to your conscious mind here and is discovered by you. Trash, you really do relate to this sort of emptiness, this feeling of lacking understanding of where you come from and where you're going sometimes. Mm-hmm. And were it not for Catherine, even more so, you could say that was truly your starting point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll ask Billet, what's your plan to find out?
Well, if I ever get out from under that asshole's boot, I want to head to the Dominium and, especially now, ask questions. I've been searching my whole life. That's kind of how I got in sideways with Oban and his lot. He made promises, and at first it seemed like a good deal. He provided me with a lot of information. I was able to track down and understand the other automatons and meet others like myself in the dynasty, but sometimes the cost of knowledge is a lot more than you anticipate. You hear Rivo kind of stir the pot. Yeah, sometimes, I shouldn't even say sometimes, there's always a cost to everything. And you see him look back at Veridi. As you all heard the sort of exchange between him and Auntie B, that the fiery head of hair that replaces one's, normal natural hair. His is just a plume of flame that, varies in intensity, with his emotions, but doesn't seem to harm him, but definitely makes him wholly unique, as he's not any type of elemental, unlike yourself, Dazes, some sort of elemental lineage. He's truly just a half-elf with fiery locks, and it's a little off-putting at times, perhaps to some individuals, but it seems to be a cost that he was willing to bear for the opportunity to pursue what meant the most to him. As he stares back at Veridi. Well, y'all seem like a real interesting lot. I'll say that much. Seems we all have had a fair share of fateful crossings and strange crossroads that have all brought us here. And as she says that, Dazes, you kind of... That thought of fate and crossroads and potential and what could have been kind of resonates in your mind. As you had an upbringing, you had those who sort of took you under their wing, and you had sort of a life up to a certain point before it was all sort of unceremoniously taken from you. And what you thought was entirely lost and had kind of sent you into a emotional negative spiral, you come to find all might not be lost, but it may not be the same as what you remember. It may not always be, or may not ever be exactly the same, but nevertheless, there's still a light of hope, a spark, a chance. As you feel, you kind of roll your fingertips across the two-sided coin in your pocket, feeling the two faces of fate on each side. By the way, I don't think I ever gave you the information for that particular item. I thought I did, but I might not have.
You gave me some information. Let me see if
I don't know if I formally gave it to you or not. I thought I created it, but let me double check here.
Oh yeah. Like if you ever actually put it onto my character tweet.
Yeah, I might not have. Let's see.
I guess it would be in my inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Token of Fate, but I think I put that in there myself.
Okay, that's what I'm referring to. Did I not put that in? Yes. So, to formally say, and I can try to create this if I haven't already. Once per day at dawn, you can choose to flip the coin. If it lands on the face of Taimura, it will be automatically considered a critical success. If it lands on the darkened face of Bashaba, it will be automatically considered a critical failure. So basically, it gives you, on any D20 roll, you can choose to use this. And it basically gives you a 50-50 shot of a crit fail or a crit success.
Okay.
I like those odds.
So I flip it at dawn, and then I have that in the pocket.
No, you would flip it when you can choose to flip it whenever you make the 20 roll at the time.
Okay.
Once per day. Yeah, it recharges at dawn, I should say.
Okay.
That's the gist of the item's effect.
Time to be a gambling man.
Uh,
I think that was one I had in my back pocket for a while. I just didn't know when it was an appropriate time to give it to you. But I was thinking about that one since I think session 2.
yeah, you gave me that coin pretty early.
Yeah.
You have it written out already? If not, I can just like add it to the
I might. If not, I'll formally make it and put it on there.
Okay. So I was gonna say I can just like I have the item here already. I just don't have like a description for it or anything.
Right. I just wanted to give it to you in case it, becomes pertinent and you do want to use it. I just forgot to formalize it.
Okay. Yeah, you can give it to me whenever. I'll try to remember.
I'll ask these two while they're cooking. What will the old woman have us do, or can she really help us?
Well, I have no doubt she can help you. It's a question of whether or not you want to pay the cost.
And what would the cost be for me? What you've seen?
It depends. I imagine she's mulling it over right now. You said you were in ways with some sort of divine entity or some sort of fae or both. Is that right?
I don't know what he is. Just some goofy guy that leads a cult.
You would know, Floof, that I don't know if you've ever seen. I would imagine Trash and maybe Dazes. I don't think, Floof, you would have ever seen or heard of what Oban is, but Trash, I think you might have vaguely seen it. I think you're proficient in history, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I think you would have known that Oban is definitely a Fey entity.
Okay.
A Fey entity known as a changeling.
Mm. Oh, right. That's...
And you saw this effect in full form
Yes.
take place while you were in the chapel of Ali Damara.
Mm-hmm.
And you all three, you've been in the various cathedrals, chapels around Grossmauer, and you've encountered the Divine 12. You encountered them even more in the Swolfkirche, which was the basically the chapel of the 12. You know that Ali Damara is one of the more negatively associated gods, one of the darker 6. But definitely he seemed to have, at least he being Oban, had some sort of connection to this divine entity.
I mean, I'll say his name at least. See if they react to that at all.
The name of the changeling?
Oban Saul.
Oban. I don't think I've ever heard that name before. It's probably a good thing you've never heard the name before. He's not the kind of person you want to be coming across if you can avoid it. Billet kind of interjects. Well, a fae involved with the divine's a bit strange. Just say that, well, we tend to not get too deeply involved with the gods or goddesses, whatever you want to, whatever faith. It's not really our bag. And then for the first time you hear the words we and our coming from Veridi's lips. And you know that elves and half-elves kind of chase their lineage back to more of the Fae. But generally most don't associate themselves directly to Fae. Even though you have Fae ancestry, most tend to say they stem from Elvish ancestry. It's strange that she would say we and our. That strikes you as odd. I would say to all of you, a little bit, to varying degrees. I think you all have fairly high insight.
I mean, yeah, I'll say, so what, you guys are all some big family?
Well, actually, this is where I grew up. I call her Auntie B, but she's probably the closest thing I had to a mother growing up. I didn't really have a blood family. First thing I remember is growing up here as a little girl alongside Auntie B.
And how old are you two?
Well, in Elvish years, or are we talking just in general scope of life? Rivo continues to stir and add some seasoning. Because if we're talking Elvish years, if I had to recall, probably well over 100.
How would Floof ask this? How many moon cycles is that?
Well over 100.
Seasons
of several hundred, 4 or 5.
Oh.
But
You don't
in the
look that
case
old.
of human association, and I would say in our 30s, 40s by comparison, late 20s, 30s ish. Time's kind of relative when you're of our lineage. You don't really think about it all that much. It's definitely something you've seen elves on multiple occasions now, Floof, and half elves all over the continent. I mean, there's more half elvish lineage and various, demi races and associations across the entire continent of Irindal, mixed lineages and things of that nature. You've never really thought about how long an elf lives. So this is a bit odd. You've always assumed that they were the same as humans. But
Yeah.
based on what he's saying, that's far from the truth by like a magnitude of 10 or more.
That's crazy. That's not even possible.
It's possible. I can tell you that much. The ancient elven prima, some of them fools were for 1,000 years. Supposedly. I would say most of our kind now, they'll creep up to that point at some juncture. And what you do recall, and this kind of fits what he's saying, you rarely seen very old looking elves. A lot of them seem fairly young in appearance. I mean, some look like middle-aged, a wrinkle or two here, but it's rare that you see like a very old, nothing like you see in humans. You don't see like an old looking elf.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to determine the true age of elvish lineage. And as Rivo's saying, it's not something they really even keep track of after a certain point.
Okay.
After a bit of time, Rivo finishes cooking the stew, grabs some wooden bowls and spoons, and begins dishing it up for all of you, passing out, portions along the table. It's a hearty stew. It has some sort of, well, you imagine some sort of red meat. You don't know what the source is, but some sort of well-cooked down, rendered red meat of some kind. Potatoes, carrots, leeks, turnips, a mixture of the typical vegetables you would associate with a stew, and a thick, heavily spiced broth of sorts that's been even more fortified with what you imagine is some sort of cream that's made it quite thick and rich, and it really hits the spot given all the traveling you've done today.
Okay. My stomach growls audibly.
I say, I need more than one bowl.
Well, we still got plenty of it, I can tell you that much, so eat your fill. I imagine Auntie B's definitely going to be making you work it off if you do intend to solicit her help. So, eat well while you can.
I will. I devour it all, and I want more.
Rivo dishes you up as many helpings as there is stew in the pot, and with a hearty appetite, you all manage to finish off the vast majority of it, much to his chagrin. You can definitely tell he prides himself on his culinary ability, whether that be mixing cocktails or simple dishes such as this. You said your name was Trash, correct? You hear Verity say as she looks at you, Trash.
Yes.
That's a unique name.
I mean, I didn't have anyone to name me, so
Fair enough.
I named myself where I came from and what I was surrounded by.
Speaking of being surrounded and, well, you definitely give off a strange sort of energy. I noticed it briefly when we were on the railway, but now that we're sitting so close and having dinner together, I can definitely tell that you give off a unique sort of energy. Nothing like I've ever seen before. And I've seen some strange things coming from a fae.
I really am just learning more about that aspect of myself more recently. But I don't know. I think I'm lacking the words, and so instead of trying to find the words, I guess I just try to nothing outlandish, but I'll kind of try to just like mend something in the room that requires mending, and hopefully the glow of lunarium will kind of come through from my body, and I'm just like, I am made of this.
You mend a small crack in one of the chair legs nearby. That is definitely unique. It's, well, the arcane's usually understood differently depending on whom is casting it and, imbibes it, and who perceives it, depending on their understanding, the source of their magic, whether it come from within or without, or from another entity. They all have sort of their unique flavor, if you will, sort of like a stew. Everyone has a little bit different spice mix, if you pardon the analogy. Yours seems to be very chaotic, and yet it comes within and without, as if your entire being is like sentient magic.
Yeah. I don't know if it's correct or how. It's just what I've always known to do. Is I told you my kind of humble beginnings is I had to scrounge. I had to look for discarded cloth and pieces of leather, paper, and so kind of taught myself over a long period of time, and with the help of someone very important to me, speech and how to talk. But I've always I tinker with things. I put things together. I fix things. I make things for myself. And I don't know. I just those things kind of course I pour everything, my heart and soul, into making things. But then when I do, it's I don't know why, but it's kind of like it takes on a little bit of me or my life or my essence, and it becomes magic in a way. And I don't know if that's correct, but it's just kind of how it's always been for me. And then that's when I show off Panda, like Panda.
You watch as Veridi kind of chuckles and smiles at the strange sentient, well, semi-sentient automaton that you bring forth. The I can see as well that connection between the two of you, the creation and the creator, that's not wholly unique in and of itself, but, well, let me explain a bit further. And you watch as she sort of passes her hand over the unfinished stew in her bowl as she casts prestidigitation. I had a brain fart. Prestidigitation. As she casts the spell, you can see that the stew sort of lifts up into a sort of form reminiscent of your own trash. And you see, chunks of like carrot, potato, a little bit of meat, and the overall binding of this brothy cream base sort of giving form as it sort of sits on top of the bowl. It's sort of like this, if you pardon the analogy. I don't mean that you're like a stew, but the composition of magic that I can see in you is a sum of different parts, magics from so many sources coming together, and that rightfully shouldn't be bound together, but by some means they work in tandem, like a strange like a stew, I guess. Sorry, I don't mean to be insulting in any way. Like,
No.
it's
I don't find. I mean, my name is Trash. I don't find much insulting.
Maybe we call you Stu now.
Yeah, maybe that can be my nickname. But yeah,
my question
Again, we
is, these parts, how they came to be together like this, as typically when internal magics like the ones I see in you are released at the time of an individual's passing, they swiftly disperse into the natural world. It's rare that they linger for very long. This ambient arcana usually within minutes is gone, but for some reason these innate sources found themselves together, and even then should not have bound themselves to one another like this. And yet here you are, and yet it works. Again, I don't mean to be rude. It just, I can't help but comment, as I've never seen an individual quite like yourself before, and I'm just fascinated, to tell you the truth.
I mean, that's all right. I don't say this in a boastful manner, certainly, by any means, but I have been traveling with my companions for some time, looking for someone like me, trying to discover perhaps a family of some sort, and an origin of being, and you're right. I have not found another individual quite like me, and the more I learn about myself is I don't have all the answers, but I definitely am a bit of an anomaly. I still don't really know why I'm here or how I'm here. But I know that I am here, and I owe it to the parts of me that make me who I am, to, I guess, live the best life I can. I don't know.
That's
But,
a confident way to look at things. To say that the sum of one's parts is the sum is greater than the parts as a whole, whatever the saying might be. Well, I don't mean to dwell on it too much longer, but speaking of of magics and things of that nature. And now you see Viridi kind of turn towards you, Dazes. You said you had a... Well, obviously I can... you told me about this supposed deal you made with Oban, but that doesn't seem to be the only divine presence here among us. It's faint, but I see that as well. You seem to have a tie to the twin sisters of fate. Mr. Dazes, was it?
Yes. I'll pull out the coin. No.
I see. And right now I can see that there's it's ever so faint at this point, but there's a sort of residual, and she kind of like touches the around her neck, and you see like there's like just a thin ribbon like choker around her neck, like an accessory, but she kind of like rolls her finger around it. Right here, but not on me, on you. Like there's still a little residual presence of some sort of magic. Very, very dark magic. And as she says that, you kind of reminisce on the feeling of having that choking like presence. It wasn't enough to like asphyxiate you, but you felt that choking presence when you encountered your ex-partner down below in the catacombs below the capital of the dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling of having a ring of pressure around your throat cast upon you is what she's referring to. And as she reminds you of it, you kind of, again, feel that pressure around your neck. It's faded at this point, but just the ever so faintest of residue of magical, sort of like the footprints in the mud. All but gone at this point, but just the faintest indent. That's some dark magic right there. Divine, but dark magic. And yet you have the faintest hint of hope lingering in the palm of your hand there. As she looks at the coin, and you look down at the palm of your hand, and you can see the face of Timora looking up at you. Sort of glinting gold is a bit weathered and less vibrant at this point in time, but still looking down by comparison to the darker side of the coin, still gives you the faintest hint of hope as you look down at the possibility.
Quite a balancing act if you can be.
And you carry what seems like a heavy burden. Again, I apologize. I can't help but sense emotions differently than other folk. You could say it's sort of almost like breathing for us.
I can see that being both a blessing and a curse in some ways.
Definitely a curse, that's for sure. As you hear the thud of 4 sort of uneven posts sort of hit the stone floor behind you all. And even though it's just a light tap, there's a resonance as it sort of hits the floor, an unintentional resonance that kind of elevates it to, even though it's just a slight tap, it's as if someone like struck a gong behind everyone in the room. And as you all turn, you see Auntie B is stepping out of her bedchamber and approaching you all and sitting on what suddenly appears to be a lounge chair that you didn't see there before. Like a high-backed, much more heavily cushioned chair than the ones that you all are sitting in. As she sort of steps over, in a sort of labored manner, but you kind of get the gist that although it appears labored as she walks with this assistance device, you're not 100% sure if it's just there for show or if she truly does need it. Nevertheless, she puts the walker to the side and sits down in this leather-backed armchair and looks at you all. So, you need help breaking whatever deal you made with Oban. If I cut to the meat of the situation...
Finally, yes. Can you help?
I can.
And let me guess, we have to make another deal.
Smart boy.
What he wants to be.
Dumb rules.
Rules nevertheless. You don't get anything for free.
Well, spit it out then, old lady.
She kind of narrows her sight at you, Floof.
I was like, we're trying to work with this extremely powerful individual, right?
Hey, I'm tired of it. Everyone's got an ulterior motive, and it's just like, can we just not do the whole thing? That's what Floof's thinking.
I like you.
Oh.
Most people wouldn't dare speak to me like that. At least once they know who I am.
I don't very much care who you are. I just want to do what we gotta do.
You hear her chuckle, and in the back of your mind, Floof, that chuckle turns into a deep, bellowing cackle. Like a very unnerving cackle. No one else hears it but you, as she focuses on you specifically. But it ends quickly.
Do you need water?
I'll be fine.
I'll make a look at Dazes and Trash as if they did hear it. Like, what the damn hell's going on with this lady?
What?
I have a job opportunity that I was going to solicit to others, but since you so graciously appeared on my doorstep,
Oops.
I'll make you a deal. You do a little bit of let's call it eviction on my behalf. This is my home. This is my domain. And I don't just mean this hut. This entire space belongs to me. I do not tolerate interlopers of any kind here without my permission. I don't care if they're fae, mortal, god, demon, or in this case, devil.
Devil.
There's an entity that's moved into the deeper part of this marshland. He sees fit to terraform that space to his liking. I don't know who he owes allegiance to, but he's quite powerful. So I imagine it is a powerful entity as well. But cutting to the chase, I want him gone. I don't care how you do it. You can talk to him. You can make fun of him. You can chase him off, you can bribe him, or if you must, you can kill him, if you can. But I want him gone. This is my home, and I will see fit to determine whether a tenant can remain. If you are able to remove this interloper from my delta, we'll consider that payment. And I will instruct you on how to break your pact with Oban.
Wait, so you're not even going to lift the curse yourself? You're just going to tell us how?
Who said it was a curse? It's a deal.
I don't know.
A curse can be broken. Generally, when you break a deal, there are consequences. But every deal has a loophole. You just have to exploit that loophole before Oban does. Makes sense?
No.
Yes.
If Oban wrote the deal, is there a chance that he already knows the loophole?
I'm fairly certain it was intentional. But sometimes the best way to avoid a trap is to spring it before you walk into it. For most of you, that's exactly what you'll have to do.
I don't suppose you'll just tell us what the loophole is, and then we could help you with your problem.
No. Work first, payment second.
And if we don't help you, you're gonna make us explode or something?
Why would I make you explode? Then I have to clean you up.
I don't know.
I am a powerful archfey. But that doesn't mean I like to just waste my time and my magic doing mundane tasks that don't interest me. Like cleaning your entrails off my walls.
Entrails.
I won't send you into this lion's den, devil's den, completely unarmed. As I said, this is a powerful entity, the likes of which you mortals probably have never even seen or understood existed. So I'll give you each a bit of protection and a boon of sorts. And it should just make things interesting, of course. And she turns, and you see one of the windows has kind of grown foggy and dark. This will be an interesting bit of entertainment as well, as a separate little bonus for myself. I don't usually like visitors, but might as well get some use out of you if you're already here. So,
Well,
which of you
you
would
guys-
like to... Which of you would like to go first?
I will step forward.
Courageous.
wait, Dazes, are you sure? We've been tricked by these Fae before.
You have my word. I will not harm you, and I will not intentionally try to trick you.
I'll say under my breath. Nobody's word means anything outside of the forest.
Now, when a Fae makes a promise, that means something. That's the deal. Much like what Oban has done with y'all, that was a deal. When a Fae makes a deal, they mean it. And an Auntie B means it. She's right. As Rivo kind of runs his hand through the fiery locks on the top of his head. And then stands by Veridi.
All right.
Well, you seem to already have a boon of sorts, but one you don't seem to realize you have in your possession. As she taps her fingertip on your staff, Dazes.
Oh, yes. The original one?
Yes. The one with the insignia of the turtle shell on it. The one that was given
Yeah,
to you by your master.
I'll turn it over to that and I'll say, you know this symbol? You know what it means?
Absolutely. I've met your master Duncan many ages ago. And as that name comes across, you remember she definitely knows who she's talking about as the name of your teacher springs to life in your mind. You think that's a simple staff he gave you?
I have been told that it is more than that.
May I? As she holds her hands out to hold the staff from you.
Yeah, I'll hand it over.
You set it in her hands, and she looks it over and then turns it up, and on one side you can see just above where that insignia is, the end of the staff has like metal end caps on it. What look like rings that sort of mount into the wood. I'm surprised you didn't notice this little mechanism here. And she presses her thumbnail into a groove on the top of the staff, and that ring begins to rotate and turn. This staff has some hidden features. If you imbue it with your natural energies your master taught you to use, it has varying effects. You won't be able to unlock all of them at once, but you might be able to unlock at least one, maybe two in the near future. Give me just a moment here. I added an item to your inventory that'll replace your normal quarterstaff, Dazes.
Okay.
You now have the staff of the Turtle Hermit.
Turtle Hermit.
Yes.
That sounds cool.
The staff has 3 puzzle locks on it.
Ooh.
Hey, let's go.
The first puzzle lock is called Harmony, Betrayal, and Commitment. Representing the first third of Master Dokanis' teachings, aka Master Duncan. After succeeding in unlocking the staff's first puzzle and investing a sum total of 10 key points into the crystallized core of the staff through a reflective meditation, the weapon becomes attuned to the wielder, and you get a number of features. Puzzle lock number 2 requires 20 invested key points. Not all at once, but over the course of time. And then puzzle lock number 3 is 30 key points, and will have even additional effects. So you're welcome to look through the effects of the first puzzle lock.
Okay.
I believe this requires attunement, if I remember correctly, so double check that.
Yeah, it does say everything that's a dedicated weapon on it.
Yes.
That makes sense.
So.
Was there like a limit of 3 things that you could have attuned to you at one point? Is that right?
Yes, unless you have some sort of feature that lets you go beyond that, but you typically can only have 3 attunements.
Okay. All right. This is going to be interesting. I think I already have 3 things it's doing to me, so I have to make a decision here.
Additionally, your protection for the 3 of you, or 4 of you, rather, you already have it. You all have the effects of Hero's Feast. The stew that you ate from Rivo was attuned with Auntie B's magic, so you get the effect of the Hero's Feast.
Yo. Since Floof ate so much, does he get like most of the effect?
It doesn't add any the more you eat. Yeah, you get the effect of the Hero's Feast. So you are, if I remember correctly, I forget the full effects of Hero's Feast. Hero's Feast.
This is the first time hearing of it.
It's usually a level 6 spell.
Oh.
A creature that partakes in the feast gains several benefits. The creature is cured of all diseases and poisons, becomes immune to poison and being frightened, and makes all wisdom saving throws with advantage. Its hit point maximum also increases by 2d10, and it gains the same number of hit points. These benefits last for 24 hours. So basically, between now and then, you'll probably take a long rest, but if you'd like to roll your 2d10 now, you can. That will increase your maximum hit points for the next 24 hours.
So we're adding this into like our temporary hit points, essentially.
They're not temporary, as in they don't go away. It's your maximum hit points that are temporarily increased by 2d10.
For 24 hours. Okay.
For 24 hours, yes. You have advantage on wisdom saving throws, and you are immune to fear, and I believe being charmed. Hold on. Immune to poison and being frightened. So yeah, immune to fear and poison. Which I think most of you already were immune to poison, but anyway.
Yeah,
the wisdom saving throw advantage is huge, though.
Yeah, it is.
And the extra hit points is really nice.
And it just lasts 24 hours.
Yes, it lasts 24 hours, and then your hit point maximum goes back. So, like, if you were to take damage, if you had 80 hit points on the new, like if your normal hit points were 60 and you rolled 2d10 and you got the maximum of 20 extra hit points, your hit point maximum would be 80, so you could be healed back up to 80. If they were temporary hit points, they would just go away and they'd be gone after they were used. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then after 24 hours, your hit point maximum goes back to where it was before. So you'll just have to keep track of that extra whatever 2d10. If you guys want to roll that right now, that way we know where everybody is.
Okay.
And if you roll really bad, I'll be generous and give you another opportunity. If you roll like a 1 on one of them, I'll let you re-roll one of the die. Okay. Cool. Who's next?
Give me a hard roll.
So, Floof, you have your hit point maximum is increased by 11 for the next 24 hours.
Okay.
So, who's next?
Those are mine.
Oh, shit. You can re-roll one of those d10s. So, you have 4
Oh,
and...
my God. Sorry.
I'll re-roll the 1.
Yeah, you can re-roll the 1. I mean 6.
Yeah, 19. Holy shit.
Oh, shit.
Damn.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's why I freaked out. I was like, what the hell?
All right, let's go. Almost maximum. So, your hit points are increased by that amount for the next 24 hours. You make wisdom saving throws with advantage. You are immune to being frightened and immune to poison. Okay?
Yeah, I'm going to keep Hero's Feast open in the tab. I can refer to it.
Yeah, you can just search Hero's Feast 5e and it'll give you the rundown of it.
Yeah, I'm keeping a thing open for it.
Well, who's next?
Go ahead. Soup.
We can make Billy go. Go on.
Stop her panicking because you realized that
Forgot
he needs a
Billet?
boon too. Yeah.
No, Billet has his boon. I won't explain what that is. We'll save that one for later.
Okay.
So, among the three of you, Trash or Floof, who's next?
I'd say go ahead, Trash.
All right. I step forward.
Okay, give me just a moment here. Well, since you are more of the magically inclined, she pulls a small necklace out of her pocket. And you see on it, there's two bright red beads hanging off of a thin, stringy chain. It looks very unassuming and to the naked eye, it looks very humble of an item. Be careful where you toss those little beads. They can have a bit of dangerous impact. And you can see they seem to they were originally fiery red, and then now they've changed color a bit, and they seem to be rolling through a variety of different colors.
Okay.
This is a each of these two beads that you've received are this is essentially a necklace of fireball.
Ooh.
Nice.
However, these are prismatic beads, meaning you'll roll on a random table
Oh, and then see which.
what element comes out. So it could
I
be
see.
ice, fire, thunder, lightning, force, poison, the whole spectrum, essentially. Acid, the whole 9 yards.
Mhm.
So she sets that in your hand.
I mean, I know you said it's kind of humble, but this is probably the nicest, prettiest thing I've ever come across. So I am.
Well, that's good to hear. Try not to use them all at once. Be quite a nasty pop otherwise.
But thank you. This is yeah, this is great and very pretty. I don't think I've ever had anything quite this pretty.
And you, big boy. Last up?
Me?
Yes, you.
Okay. I'll walk up to her.
Well, hold out your hand. Palm up.
Will?
You watch as she slowly pulls out a thin, what looks like a sewing needle, and pricks the end of her finger, and then swiftly, before you can even react, pierces the center of your palm of your hand, and it stings pretty intensely for a split second as you kind of hesitate and pull away, and it stings and kind of burns in the palm of your hand. There we go.
What the heck?
Take a look. As you open your palm, you see a symbol has kind of spread out across your palm as like a permanent ink has suffused the palm of your hand into this leafy-like fey symbol in the center of your hand. That's a added bit of protection for you.
Protection from what?
You'll see. This is a life well tattoo.
Yep.
I don't know if it's in D&D Beyond. But essentially, you have resistance now to necrotic damage. And you have the effects of Life Ward once per day at the start of each day. So if you were to be reduced to 0 hit points, you would instead go to 1 hit point instead of going unconscious. Once per day.
Okay.
I know it stings a little bit, but you'll get used to it. Especially when it keeps you from being dead. You try to rub it off, and it's clearly like the ink is suffused underneath the flesh of your palm.
It's like you essentially have a new palm tattoo.
Yeah, you have a tattoo.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, I don't know if it's in D&D Beyond, but it is referred to as a life well tattoo. So you now are resistant to necrotic damage. You're not immune, you're resistant. So, and then you have once per day the effect of Life Ward.
It is actually in D&D Beyond, it looks like.
Okay. It does require attunement, but I would say that it would not take up one of your attunement slots because it cannot be removed.
Okay.
So if it comes down to like you want to attune a fourth item, you can go ahead and do that, and we'll just ignore it. The attunement rules, because this is an attunement you cannot remove.
Sick.
Well then.
Just for me, was it 2 charges for the necklace?
Yes, it's 2 charges.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're not. It essentially is a necklace of fireball, but is a prismatic necklace of fireball.
Right.
So I would say in this case, it's not just a normal level 3 fireball. It is essentially a cast at level 5. So it'd be 10.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be 10d8, and you would need to roll. I think it's a d6. I forget how many elements. It's acid, fire, ice, lightning, thunder, force, radiant, necrotic. I think it's a D8. So you'd roll a D8, and then depending on which one it landed on, that would be the element it would release.
Okay.
I just want to make things a bit more interesting, but you'll still need to rely on your natural abilities. And your smarts. This is a devil we're talking about. But unlike most devils that prefer to make pacts and deals and, well, he still may try to make a deal with you, but if you betray me, you watch as she pulls that same needle out of her waist pocket. I promise you this will be the least of your pain. Anyway, you'll need to start early in the morning. It's, as the crow flies, not a tremendous journey, but we're talking about the densest part of the delta. And fate only knows, well, well, we'll see how well you are able to navigate to their abode. You'll know when you're in the right place, I promise. I don't want to make it too easy. I do enjoy a bit of entertainment.
Does this devil have a name?
I believe last he went by was Memphis. That's Mephis.
Okay.
But anyway, you all should get some rest. Take the time you need to recover. Collect your thoughts. Strategize however you'd like. In the morning, you'll need to head out in that direction. Any questions?
I mean, is there anything we should know about this devil that maybe we could use to kill him?
Give me a persuasion check.
Not my best stats. But
I could try to help you with Flash of Genius.
okay, I don't know why it didn't come. It doesn't look like it came through. I got a 15 though. I swear.
A 15. Did you want to use Flash of Genius?
Sure.
So what does that add to?
Add 5.
Okay.
Okay. So that would be a dirty 20.
Okay. From what I know, I've not met him in person in many, many years, and it certainly wasn't in my backyard. I know he's a very eccentric person. He's also a very vain individual. Obnoxiously so. That's all I really remember.
Okay, so we need to hurt his feelings.
And knowing that it's your domain, what gave him the confidence to just move into your space?
That is the question, isn't it? I would imagine whomever he swears fealty to likely is quite powerful if they have the gall to come into my domain. Divine or otherwise. You can see she's begun to sit up now, and you can see that as she pushes the chair over to the corner of the room, you see there's sort of a monogram set of letters. And you've heard Verity call her Auntie B, but the monogram on the back of the head of the chair is a BY. Which is odd. Because you would assume by her being called Auntie B, it would be like short for Beatrice or something of that nature. But BY. Additionally, you see It's almost as if it's like an initial more than it is. Like it's presented on the back of the armchair more like an initial than it is like a shortened name. And generally you don't do like a monogrammed stamp like that with somebody's like short form nickname. It's usually initials.
Like capital B, capital Y?
Yeah. In fact, you can all give me either a religion or history. They'll have different answers depending on what you roll.
Sorry, what are we rolling for? History
Either religion or history. Depending on which one you choose, will give you a different answer.
Why isn't my D&D Beyond rolls showing up in this, do you think?
Is your there's that extension that you have to have up to date. If that's not working, then the Beyond 20 extension in Chrome.
All right. Well, I got a 14 on his history.
Okay.
I'll have to do that later. So there's like this whole thing where my old college email account was literally deleted from existence, and that's my Google and everything was. It was a whole ordeal for a while.
Right.
And yeah, I gotta get some extensions put into this account.
Oh my god. 27.
I'm rolling like crazy today.
Yeah, you were rolling really high.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll go religion just because I don't think anybody else has.
Yeah, my religion is not anywhere near my history.
Okay.
Mine are even for both.
Trash, you know that there are... You don't know of which Archfey... You know of several Archfey you've read of over the years. Oftentimes, they are so powerful that their sort of personas, their stigmas sort of spread far and wide. So much so that they become sort of folklore for other groups.
Mm-hmm.
And most Fae tend to stay out of the public-facing domain. That's why they've kind of become more... Some people don't even agree that they still exist. That at least in the current day, that, you know, everyone knows that elves tie their lineage back to the Fae and other dimensional realms outside of the one that we all know here. But just like many stories, they all have some nugget of truth. They had to come from somewhere. There's a series of stories that you've heard in more of the remote farming villages in your travels with Catherine. A lot of the ones closer to the southeast edge of the Landscelt Alliance, of a particularly powerful Archfey, an ancient Archfey. That commanded, or rather, tended to dabble in fate, pulling at the strings of reality itself. and that the most desperate in the world would seek her out to make a deal, oftentimes regretting that deal, as what they would bargain would often be far more costly than they realized. Or they would fail to make good on their promises, and this Archfey would do untold damage, not physically, but just gruesome things all the while. Gruesome things that would extend not just to the individual, but to loved ones, family. It was always sort of a cautionary tale of... It was more of a cautionary tale of make sure that you understand the terms of your deal and don't try to break your deals. It was kind of a... what's the term I'm thinking of? Like a fable. More so, just a cautionary tale. But as I said, there's a nugget of truth to that. And the more you speak with Auntie B, you begin to see that nugget of truth hold in this individual. This looming shadow that sort of breaks the realms of reality and fate. And it takes you a moment to remember names, and it's only until Dazes reminds you of a similar tale that you heard as traveling the many seas around the continent and to other continents briefly, that a name sparks between the two of you with those two checks. It sort of matches up with these initials. A folklore, fae, an ancient entity that many just simply have forgotten over the many years, but has stuck around as sort of a children's fable for many, many years. Of the Baba Yaga. And that's what you remember.
Okay.
I don't like that.
Yep. That is I mean, I knew we were fucking with somebody extremely powerful. I called it from day one, but you know.
Yeah, the DC on that was 25.
Damn.
God damn. The other one was a little bit lower, but the fact that you got most of the... I was like, okay, that between the two of you, I think you would have figured it out. Like a superstitious, fisherman's tale, coupled with, sort of... what's the term I'm thinking of? Anthropological research that you would have had access to in the libraries of the Magisterium trash. I think the two of you would have figured out who this person is at this point.
Yeah. And like her reputation precedes her. Like even...
Yeah, even as a folklore, fable, cautionary tale.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway. I'll see you all in the morning. Until then, sleep well. She kind of begins to saunter off with her walker again. Well, there's plenty of bed space. despite the fact that this seems cramped and cozy, there's actually quite a lot of bedrooms, give or take, how many guests, which Auntie B rarely gets, but, she always seems to have space when she needs it. So, if you head this way and you watch that same sort of just around the corner, you turn and what you thought was originally just like kind of a corner to like some sort of restroom or bath closet or something like that. Now you turn that corner and there's a long hallway with like multiple doors, and you have to do a double take. Like, this definitely was not here earlier. Like, and this makes no sense spatially how this corridor goes this far when you saw the hut from the outside, and it's just, at this point, you've kind of just chalked it up to Fey magic.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not surprised considering what we've seen thus far.
Yeah, between this and the snakes on the floor and the nearly falling off a cliff, at this point you've kind of given up the ghost on trying to maintain a sense of reality. Like, this whole hut is just one big fun house.
Hate it.
Emphasis on the fun.
Fun for somebody. Well, we'll see y'all in the morning. Sleep well. And
thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks for food.
Despite what she said, I think Auntie B really likes y'all. Or at least she's entertained, which is close enough.
Yeah.
It's better than her getting mad.
That's true.
Last time I saw somebody actually make her mad, like truly make her mad. Yeah, let's just say, yeah. You know those chicken feet that's holding this here hut up? Yeah. Anyway, good night, y'all. And she steps into the room, and Rivo just kind of nods and sort of smirks and chuckles and follows her into one of the rooms. But
I
you can
whisper to Trash. So this house is a chicken?
It's supported by chicken feet.
I hate this place.
Sure. But I think even though the deal we took may absolve us of our other shitty deal, I think we gotta tread really carefully. I think there's a reason why we were given boons. And her mention of killing isn't necessarily the only solution. I think we gotta get some good rest and keep our wits about us.
I mean, I'm definitely tired.
You see there's 3 separate bedrooms along this hallway. Each room is cozy. Enough room for even the largest among you. Beds that are, simple but comfortable. There's a bedside table as well as a sort of a sink stand, a wash basin for you to clean yourselves up. Fresh sheets. And any of the general things you might need as a guest here in this house. But is there anything else you all would like to do, or we can call it an in-game evening and start things up in the morning?
I mean, for flavor-wise, because of my level 10, I'd like to do something before we call it. I don't know about
Sure.
anybody else here, but
Let's hear it.
for me, it's as I've been, again, like with all the experiences leading up to this point and realizing more and more, like, at least maybe not 100% certain of, like, why I exist or, like, you know, how I came to be, but at least knowing a bit more about the origins of my creation, like, at least, like, mechanically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I have, and this is just, like, something that I never mentioned because it's, like, a very small token, but I've always had this, like, tiny, like, wind-up toy, almost like a little, like, mechanical, like, mouse, like those ones that you, like, wind up.
Yeah.
And then it'll go on its own. Found it in the garbage, repaired it, and just kind of kept it because, you know, I have very few possessions, so I always had it. I think as I'm discovering more and more about myself and the abilities I have and my effect on my surroundings, can I just say that I have throughout the evening, not for a long time because I still want to get a long rest, but I kind of sit with this piece in my hand and I'm kind of just holding it between my palms and I'm just meditating and I'm just thinking and not really doing it purposefully, but kind of just trying to imbue it with, like, some of me, some essence of me. And I basically try to create a homunculus servant.
Okay. Is this one of your infusions?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. You, almost like a piece of yourself breaks off within the discarded toy that you've brought back to some semblance of its new and functioning ability. As you turn the wind-up crank and feel your essence pour into the frame of this little servant, slipping between the gears like an oil-based lubricant, but filled with the arcana of your very essence. You feel this homunculus begin to take form and take shape and take on some part of something close to a mind of its own, some semblance of full sentience, with your influence, of course. But yes, before you take your rest for the evening, you are able to create your homunculus servant. Explain for us what does its final shape sort of take as you infuse yourself into this wind-up toy?
Well, it is supposed to have it is supposed to be able to, like, kind of fly. So
Okay.
it's kind of like a mouse with wings. I guess you could say it's bat-like, but definitely looks more like a mouse.
I
but
mean,
with
bats are
wings.
flying rats, so it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very close to, and yeah, I will say it's almost like if the wind-up mouse turned into like a real mouse and grew some wings.
Gotcha.
And, it's I just say, welcome to our family. Introduce him to Panda.
There's a series of chitters and squeaks back and forth between the two entities. Eventually, a sense of recognition between the two of them. A strange amalgamation of the mechanical and the arcane making up these two life forms that are tied directly to you, Trash. Similar to your own being, I find it fitting that these two creatures sort of are a mishmash of forgotten parts, pieces of other things that have now found new life alongside you. Very nice. Dazes, Floof, is there anything you all would like to do before we close out this evening?
I don't know exactly how this works, but I guess if I have time,
Okay.
I can spend some time with the staff.
Yes. So you could certainly do that. You'll regain your key points after your long rest, so you are more than welcome to dump as many as you'd like into the first puzzle.
Is there... Okay, let me make sure I know how many I have. Most of mine, I'm pretty sure I didn't use. Yeah, I have 8 still from today.
Let's say... Let's see here. As you infuse your key into this first puzzle, you feel each step like a click of a mechanism around the upper ring of this staff. And as each step in the mechanism clicks, you dump a bit of yourself, your energy into this magic item. You find yourself reminiscing about the good times with Ada. The many trips you took along the coast of Irindal. The smuggling runs. The nights at sea with no land in sight. Just the stars above. The deck of the ship. You feel another mechanism click as more of your energy suffuses into this item. And the longer you meditate and think on staff, bit of regret and trauma sinks into your mind. You think about the night the ship was struck. And you think... You originally remember it was struck by lightning. You remember the mast catching fire, but that's not entirely correct. As you were flung off the side of the ship wasn't severed by a blast of lightning or burned. It looked crushed. But you're not 100% sure the shadow of night sort of rendered your vision a bit hazy, uncertain. It just seems strange. It doesn't all add up. And the more you think about it, another click in the mechanism. No, the deck wasn't struck by lightning. It was crushed. Some shadowy force crushed the ship. You remember being not struck by a blast of energy, but struck by something physical, knocked overboard into the water. The ship burned, but that wasn't the main blow that caused it to break apart and capsize. You recall a shadowy tendril reaching up from nothing and snapping the vessel like a twig. And you remember, just like you remembered when you encountered Ada again, the story she described did not add up with the story you remember. Being flung to the starboard side of the vessel, she claimed you swam away from her as she sank to the depths of the ocean. But she was on the port side, flung the opposite direction. That's not right. Things weren't adding up. Another click in the mechanism. No, it doesn't add up. That's wrong. Something attacked the vessel. And either by mistake, Ada called you a liar, a betrayer, that you forsake your commitment to each other. Another click, the last of your reserved energies for the evening. No, you're certain. Something about that situation wasn't right. You didn't betray Ada. Something came between the two of you. And a new spark of perhaps hope, realization, a flash of memory. You've never been so certain in the years since the incident. You've never broken that commitment. something came between the two of you at that moment in time. That crossroads of fate. The two of you were intended to be on another break in that road. But someone intervened. As you open your eyes from your meditative state, you feel confident in the morning once you've had a bit more time to recover and rest, that you can fully unlock this first puzzle. Do you intend to sink all your key points that you have, your 8 key points, into the staff?
Yeah, since
Okay.
start going to bed anyway.
You feel exhausted as you drain all of your internal energies into this puzzle. But you feel confident it is a fraction of a twist away from fully seating itself into position. You feel confident after a long rest and just a bit more effort, you can unlock the first puzzle. Is there
Okay.
anything else you'd like to do?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Floof, we come to you. Is there anything you would like to do before you take your rest?
Well, I'll also play around. I'll try rubbing the tattoo off my palm some more before I decide to, I guess, maybe consider it more than that and an attempt to attune to it.
Okay.
Just so that that's done.
Give
I'm
me...
really... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, give me a nature check, if you don't mind, with advantage.
Okay. Trying to think how to type this out since I can't. I don't have the thing. I'm gonna give it my best try here. And you said it's nature?
Yeah, nature with advantage.
Let's see if this works.
There you go. Oh my god.
Wow.
Well, that's 2 of them added together, but you have a nat 20, so
Yeah.
Anyway, so that would be a 24, but yeah, it's still a nat 20.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you recognize this tattoo. The shape of this
Huh.
this plant, this leaf, what you originally thought was a leaf initially, has now become an entire bloom in the palm of your hand. A bloom that's very reminiscent of life and longevity. This is a lotus bloom. You've seen them before. You know that they have regenerative properties. They're medicinal, and they are a symbol of life and longevity. And that the more you focus on it as you begin to attune to this tattoo in the palm of your hand, you feel just the ever so faint presence of a fragment of life stored within the ink. That at any point, if you were to begin to slip beyond life and into the realm of the dead, this would keep you from that passage.
Okay. Well, I'll consider that a sign of good faith as I drift to sleep, because I was seriously considering turning into a spider or something and crawling into the old lady's room to see if I could figure out what's going on in there. See if I could.
You can certainly try.
But since this, yeah, I still think that there's some duping going on. I'm sus on pretty much everybody at this point. But and I think about Dazes and trash and how if I did this, it would probably ultimately be a pretty selfish move since our goal is to get this curse lifted. So I won't, and I will just fall asleep and snore loudly, of course.
Dazes and Trash, you are on either side of Floof's room, and you, for the first time, don't hear anything. It's as if these walls are heavily soundproofed, and you are able to sleep soundly without the ruckus bellows of your companion for the first time in a long time.
I love this place.
It's as if this whole place was designed by an elderly person. Who'd have thunk it?
Crazy.
Crazy. Fully sound deadened. Anyway, yeah, you guys can go ahead and take the benefits of a long rest.
I will accept that benefit.
We love long rests.
Yeah. Oh, this is new. Leaving the long rest rule option.
Yeah, I was just looking at that too.
What's that?
They have like a thing you can click to either do 2014 rules or 2024 rules.
We're going off the 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, the 2024 rules are different. So if they give you that option, yeah, please choose the 2020 or 2014 rules. You find yourselves waking up comfortably in the early morning hours. A bit unsure of what time it is, as the windows in this place are not necessarily indicative of the outside world where you think you are. You can see there's more of these oddly shaped windows down this hallway that you didn't really see the night before, to a variety of different places. You pass by one, it looks like a market square somewhere. You see a variety of humans and a smattering of other races in this large market square. You imagine somewhere in the Landscale Alliance, perhaps even in the deeper parts of the Empire. You see another window that's clearly somewhere in the Dynasty. You see a large number of Dragonborn. The styling, the clothing, the hustle and bustle and the industrial towers of Lunarium refineries are, you imagine, is somewhere in the northern part of the Dynasty. And again, another one, you look down, you can see there is a large mountain pass road, and you can see there's like a handful of rather makeshift buildings along a mountain pass road leading to a higher elevation, rocky mountain range. You imagine this is somewhere in the beginnings of the Vana route. As you head down the hallway, you can already begin to smell, there's the scent of some sort of eggs or egg-like some sort of cured meat, as well as the warming scent of cinnamon and some sort of crushed oats or porridge in a large pot. You can see Veridi is tending to the hearth as Rivo has sat down and was in the process of putting out some dishware. In the corner, you see that large armchair facing one of the corner windows or groups of windows, and you can see a small framed older woman sitting in the chair, looking out the various windows as if watching entertainment of the world, as if sitting on her porch, just chuckling as she looks through the various windows in the corner. What would you all like to do?
Good morning, I think.
Good morning. Did y'all sleep well?
I slept great.
Well, that's good to
Me
hear.
too.
Yeah.
You might not get good sleep for the next couple days. So I'm glad you at least got some in.
We're kind of used to it.
That's fair. Anyway, eat up. This might be the last big meal you get for a while, too, depending on how deep into the deltas you go.
We are used to it.
Yep.
You can see there's some sort of like cured ham or sausage of some kind, cut, sliced thin, and grilled over sort of like a flat, like a flat hot plate over the hearth. There's also like a hot porridge of some kind with a bit of cinnamon sprinkled over the top of it for sweetness, and then some sort of strange, at first looks like they've gone bad. It's a very odd, it looks like eggs of some kind, but definitely not any sort of chicken or bird egg that you've ever seen, as it has sort of a greenish tint to it. It smells good. It just looks a bit off.
I will ask about the quote-unquote eggs.
Oh yeah, don't mind those. They're there's a species here in the deltas. They kind of have a off color. They taste fine. In fact, they're very good for you. They're very filled with minerals and all that good stuff. But I understand they look a little off. I promise they're edible, as he takes a spoonful and shovels them into his own mouth.
And I'll give him a smell, and I'll probably throw a big old pile on my plate or whatever, along with everything else.
Yeah, they definitely have more of a deep, sort of like earthy flavor to them. Almost like they've been in the ground longer. Like they weren't laid in like a nest in a tree. They taste like they have the flavor of like an earthy sort of minerally flavor. It's not off in any way, it's just different. But nothing a little sprinkling of herbs and spices doesn't cover up for the most part. Otherwise, the cured meats and the porridge are delightful.
Nice.
Is the old lady out here?
Yeah, you look over and Auntie B is still sitting in her leather-backed armchair, facing away from you all. She seems to be sort of smirking. You get the sense that she's delightfully watching the world go by through the various window, as if almost like watching a soap opera through the various windows, and multiple at once. This seems to be like a simple pleasure for her. You also see she's got beside her on a chairside table what looks to be some sort of like water pipe. It doesn't like have a tobacco-y scent to it. It's more like of an herbaceous scent to it, but it's still like there's a bit of like a smoky burning scent to whatever she's got in this water pipe.
Okay then, where's this devil we have to kill?
He's in the southeast part of the delta. You'll need to head out of the hut and head in that direction. You'll know when you see it that you're heading the right way, I promise.
Can your magic house take us there?
I could. But then he'll be warned of our presence. And I don't want him slipping away into whatever rat hole he's crawled into. It'd be easier to send in some hunters unannounced and clear him out that way. Makes sense?
Sure.
So you don't think he'll run from our presence?
If he doesn't consider you a threat.
What does he look like?
Well, as I stated last night, he's a very vain individual. A bit pompous. Likes to assume that he dresses above his station. And yet he's still quite powerful. Whomever he associates with, I assume, is on a completely different level. Perhaps even one of the upper echelons of demonic kind. Not demonic, but infernal kind. I'm not well versed in their hierarchy. I've honestly never taken much interest up until now, where they've interloped into my domain. I don't feel comfortable having one of their kind here in the deltas.
I think that's understandable.
I haven't seen this individual in some time, but last I recall, at least they presented with a slender frame. And I remember they were quite tall. Much taller than any human or elf. And they like... how do I say this? Overly pretty things. Strange for a devil, I must say. Usually they prefer spiky, bloody, scaly bits and bobs. For some reason, this one likes floral things, fineries. Sweet-smelling things, things of that nature. Very odd for a devil. But suits his vain personality to a T. But, and you hear her tap the end of the water pipe on the table, and suddenly the front door swings open, and you can see that the hut is at ground level, at least the porch and the front door outside. And as you kind of look out the door, you can see the avian chicken-like legs supporting the hut have kind of stretched outward in front of the hut, and it's sort of sitting now on its foundation for the time being at ground level.
Well, nice to see we don't have to climb down.
When we're done, how do we find you and this house that I hate?
Don't you worry. I'll know when they're gone, and I will come to you. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
That is, if you succeed. Good luck. And right as she says the words good luck, you kind of turn, and then you turn, and suddenly you're standing at the end of the porch. And you turn back to look, and the door, you didn't hear it shut, but it's closed behind you. And you hear an echoey voice all around the porch of the hut. Happy hunting. And you hear this sort of but nevertheless, you can see, based on the rising sun, the porch is already pointed in a southeastern direction. So, back into the swampy exterior of the Ragaru Delta, a far cry from the cozy cabin-like huts of Auntie B. What would you all like to do?
She gave us. She said we'd know and we'd see it, but did she also tell us, like, did she say it was to the south or something?
She said it's in the southeast, and you notice, based on the position of the sun rising, that you're roughly already facing in the southeastern direction. Like, the porch, as you step out of the door, is already facing... The door is, like, basically facing due southeast.
Okay.
Is there, like, a river nearby that's sort of in that direction as well, that we can sort of, like, walk along?
Give me a survival check.
Horrific.
You do not see a river. It is just bogs and stinky, decaying swamp in this general area.
Well, I guess we can start walking.
Well, hold on. Let me look at this spell again.
My friend doesn't happen to be nearby. Does he?
Who are you referring to?
You talking about the Floof or
The Flump?
Yeah.
Barnard Soule?
Yes.
Give me a perception check.
All right.
You look all around, you don't see any sign of Bernard Soule de Flump.
Mm-hmm.
If he is around, he is not visible, that's for sure.
To Floof and or does he some trash? I'll say, or do you guys should I commune with nature again and see if I could find it? I could see for a vast distance around.
Yeah, that might be.
Does that allow you to detect the presence of devils?
It doesn't, but it does let me get the terrain of the area, plants, fae, fiends, elementals, or undead.
Fiends are devils. Yeah, fiends are devils.
Okay, then
yes.
Well, sure, why not? I will commune with nature.
Okay.
It takes 1 minute to cast, so I'll just kind of put my palm on the ground or something and just feel out the world for a 3-mile radius.
Okay.
You're our best bet. Otherwise, me and Dazes, we're just gonna pick a direction and just start walking.
And I instantly gain knowledge of up to 3 facts of my choice. I will pick fiends.
Okay.
I guess just the terrain and bodies of water.
Okay.
And I guess we'll take a stab at influence from other planes of existence. Those will be my 3 things.
Influence from other planes of existence?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the first one, you dig your fingers in, and like a network of nervous system through the ground, you feel the energies spread out like a sonar through this area. And immediately, you get a ping. Unlike before, where you were searching for Faye, and you got the immediate ping of Auntie B, presumably, as well as Bernard Soule, as a smaller, much smaller ping. But this one comes back as like a fiery reddish color in your mind. And the stink of sulfur and charcoal rests in the back of your nostrils as it stretches out. It's at the very, very edge of your commune distance. Basically due southeast, as just as Auntie B had described. You also see that there's a small creek that kind of snakes through a lot of the bog, and you can sense there's some stability around this creek heading into that area. And then there's quite a bit of decay the further you go out. But what you also notice is that creek heads further southeast. You feel that there is an intensely different energy surrounding that space as you get closer to that fiendish presence. It is lush. Like, the plant life changes drastically. It becomes vibrant and almost like you see it in your mind, and it's like somebody turned the gamma up on all of your visual and detective senses to like a 12 out of 10. Like everything is just way too bright, way too colorful, way too saturated. It's odd. There is so much plant life there's plant life all around this delta. There's no doubt about that, but this is intentional, cultivated, way different than the environment that you now stand in. It's like you just went, it's like you stepped, like you're about to step into a botanical garden by comparison. After you just stepped off of like a highway, like that level of stark difference. And then what was the last one?
Other planes of existence.
You don't sense other planes of existence other than the demonic influence suffusing that area. Just sort of like a bright red ping on the radar at the very edge of your sonar-like effect of commune with nature. The closest thing I could say to the effect is this stark difference in environment.
Okay.
You were looking for, your assumption is that a devil would be encased in fire and brimstone and saltpeter and the stink of fire and a forge and just like a burning scent of oil and death. But this is, as I stated, like a lush jungle, and not even really a jungle, but like well-maintained garden on a massive scale is what it feels like.
Okay. Well, to that, I'll snap out of it and I'll say, I found him. I think it's weird. The forest is beautiful, even more alive than this bog. It doesn't seem, it's not what I was expecting. And I think there's a safe path if we take, or if we go along this creek over here, and I'll point or start heading towards whatever direction that is.
Well, I trust you.
Yeah.
His presence isn't like the Fae. It's hotter and smellier, but he's surrounded by lush plant life. It's weird. Let's go kill him.
Maybe.
Well, is that where you all intend to go?
Why the hell not? What could go wrong?
Okay. Floof, with your use of communion with nature, you're able to follow that, but please give me you can give me a survival check with advantage, as you have the general path geared out in your mind. But still, give me a survival check with advantage, utilizing that information you garnered from Commune with Nature.
Okay, I'm gonna do it the kind of silly way, but it'll get the job done. Ooh,
Okay.
it's an 11.
Okay.
Or wait, 6 plus 8 is 14.
14. Okay. Yeah. It's a bit difficult. The terrain is still, even with your knowledge garnered from Commune with Nature, it's still difficult to follow this ever moving landscape of the bog. You have to kind of be careful in certain areas not to sink where the soils become ever so saturated and soft. A couple times you find yourself stepping into these areas thinking that you have a strong footing, and then you end up sinking up to your calf as you fall along this creek. But you see other areas where had you not followed this path, you would have ended up in quite a bit more danger. As you recognize some of the more carnivorous plant life in that direction. But with your survival check and your spell, you are able to avoid the bulk of it. You do see that there are also, as you get into more of this densely overgrown, these canopied oak trees with this hanging moss, kind of blocking out a lot of the overhead sunlight. It's difficult to maintain course, so it takes you a bit longer than you anticipate. And even though it's probably about the edge of right at the 3 mile mark where you begin to see the strong presence of that infernal sort of radar ping from your magic, it takes you some time. It is slow going through this bog to avoid either stepping into an area of danger or just stepping into an area of, other danger due to the environment more so than just the flora and the fauna. If I can go ahead and get a group, go ahead and give me a group survival check. Again, Floof, since you're leading the pack with your information, go ahead and you can do so with advantage. But go ahead and give me a group survival check.
Mine was just 10.
Okay.
Mine is a 13.
Okay. Sick here. Okay. As you head in this direction, you begin to notice that the flora is changing rapidly as you begin to approach where you saw Floof. The plant life is getting more colorful than the odd mixture of brown and gray and green and mud, essentially. You're beginning to see colorful flowers, bright pinks, purples, yellows, reds, in almost a manicured-like fashion as you get deeper and closer to this source of infernal power. What you also detect is a sweet scent all around this space as you go deeper into this segment of the delta. It is nauseatingly sweet, in fact. If I can get a wisdom saving throw from everybody.
Oh.
You do have advantage
Hey,
Oh, we have advantage.
because of the Hero's Feast.
feast.
Okay.
You said wisdom?
Wisdom saving throw.
That's my jam right there. I got a 22.
Okay.
Thank goodness for the advantage, because I got 8 and then 18.
Okay. You all managed to overcome the nauseating effects. You feel it sort of make you dizzy and almost sick at first, but you managed to hold on to it and not succumb to the altering effects of what you realize is coming from some of these flowers. There is a mixture of some sort of pollen or spores being plumed out from a lot of these larger bloomed flowers. If anyone would like to give me a nature check, you can certainly do so.
I think I would probably do something like that, so...
Yeah, not me. You got that.
Oop.
You're not sure, but there's definitely something with this pollen that's in the air that's causing, at least what you imagine if you were to breathe in too much of it before you all realize to cover your mouths or use something to cover up your mouth and your nose. This would definitely, if you inhaled enough of this, would cause some pretty severe hallucinations. If you stuck around without some sort of face covering, you all would be high as a kite in no time flat.
Oh boy.
Okay.
But you managed to overcome it and maintain your bearing and maintain your sanity as you walk through this deeper into this more and more manicured sort of arboretum, terrarium, whatever you want to call it. But definitely this is giving you, as you all look around, this is definitely more intentionally designed, unlike the rest of the Delta. And you see that as you get past these large pockets of this hallucinatory pollen emitting plant life, you even begin to see what looks like a path. A finely manicured path with rows of neatly trimmed grasses and brightly colored flowers that are clearly sequenced, as if somebody's been doing some intense gardening. As you come across this path, heading deeper into a ever-growing darkness of these canopies overhead, you can see that in the distance, as it gets so dark that the very sunlight itself has been entirely smothered from above, there's still light down this sort of makeshift corridor of plant life. Or I should say makeshift, this intentional corridor of plant life. A corridor we'll explore next time, because we're creeping up on 3 hours, so I think that'll be a good starting point for next session.
Okay.
Mm.